Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
It showed a message up there. It said, your browser's lost connection to your mic.
Oh man.
Huh? What a way to start. What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What's going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 310 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, have an XP code in the PLL app, and viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB coming at you from my hotel in Virginia. I'm on location for Champ Series all week, and Deej is with you as well, and he'll be making stops on OTB Radio. We told you we were up to something, and we are officially unveiling OTB Radio all week from Champ Series. We kicked it off with the man, the myth, the legend, CEO and co-founder himself, Mike Rabil. That interview is already up on our YouTube channel. It will also be included in this full episode, both audio and video. So check that out, run it up, and there's an XP code that you can get in the PLL app in that interview. It'll also be in this episode here, and we'll be pumping that on every episode of OTB Radio this week. But we're going to dive into NLL action, PLL Champ Series. We got Portal Jones with the finest of college updates. And before we get into all of that, make sure you're following us at OTB LaxPod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify. You are going to have some of the cleanest, finest, most electric interviews coming up over the next few days that will also be included in episodes for the next couple weeks as well. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe. Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating and review. We already have like 3 more interviews lined up, and we're working on more. So we are going to have an insane amount of content coming out of the next few days down here in Virginia that you won't want to miss. And of course, you won't want to miss it in video form either. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. It's where you get full video episodes of this show every week. You get full video episodes of OTB Radio this entire week. And you get full video episodes of every show on our network, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. Deej, OTB Radio with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mike Rabil, went over extremely well on YouTube. People were tuning in. As it premiered, it's already up to like over 30 views, and we uploaded at almost 9 o'clock at night on Valentine's Day, no less. So I know a lot of people were out, may have missed it. It's doing well, and the OTB Radio interviews are only going to keep rolling. It's going to be a blast. You won't want to miss it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. We're at 742 subscribers. Can we get to 800 before the end of Champ Series? Let's make that happen. People. And, of course, get your merch. PHI Apparel Company is the place to get it. From shirts, hoodies, and everything in between from our awesome merch partners. Get your OTB merch, your Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch. Maybe you're a fan of some of our other shows as well. They've got merch available for you. And if you're a Philly sports fan, Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, Union, they've got you covered as well. Go to phiapparel.co so you can stand out in the crowd, have the best merch on deck. And when you go to check out, use code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your order. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything Deej and I are doing. The reason I'm at Champ Series is in part because of PHI Apparel Company. So keep buying your merch. We get to do more dope stuff, be on location at different events. phiapparel.co, code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your merch orders. Deej, tell them to get their merch.
buy the merch. I mean, it's
Get that
it's some of the best stuff you're gonna get. I mean, it's not even just our show, but it's other shows, other sports. Great content, great stuff. So why not rock it? Get it at a cheaper price because you know that code
Underground, baby.
is gonna get you 10% off.
Bingo.
Why not?
It's an easy way to support Deej and myself and everybody at our company. So get that merch. But Deej, what's popping? I am podding in bed. Hashtag pod in bed in the YouTube comment section.
Let's go. You're finally joining me in potting from different areas in the United States. We are covering the tracks around here. But other than the BS weather that I have going on here in Michigan, that is literally going up, and yesterday, almost 55 degrees here. Do you know what I woke up to?
I'm going to say like a brisk 14.
Snow. I woke up to snow, bro.
Same shit.
It's not cool. So that
No,
has
it is cool. It's cold.
That has me sniffly and drainy and all of that. So other than that, I'm doing well, man. Wrapping up my schedule so that we can get after it this season for lacrosse, and still doing the basketball thing. So I've been ripping and running, but I'm excited to sit down and watch some more lacrosse this weekend. Have Friday off. Saturday, I have nothing to do until 5 p.m. And then Sunday, I'm chilling as well. So lots of time to watch lots of lacrosse.
We have tons of lacrosse on deck. And as you were mentioning that, podcasting in different states across the country, we should get like a map in the studio for every podcast and, color code it with like a thumbtack or something to denote we've done a podcast in this state.
So we've got Illinois, Michigan, Ohio,
Pennsylvania, New Jersey,
Virginia. I feel like I've been somewhere else too that I did a pod. Florida. I was in Florida when I did one.
I was in Massachusetts.
Yep, Mass. I think that might be it. Yeah, I think we're at 8
There
so
might
far.
be like one or two more that we have forgotten, but it's like a fifth of the way there. It's not bad.
We're doing well. We're doing well. Much better than the rest of the pods, I believe.
Yeah, main pod's been New Jersey, PA, Ohio. Probably a couple others sprinkled in here. Well, we'll check Virginia off tonight because we're recording the main pod tonight. But yeah, we're making our way around the world. West Coast, don't worry, we'll be there eventually. Let's get into the action though, Deej, and recap a wild week in the NLL. Week 11 come and gone. As I pull everything up on my phone, I don't have the dual monitor set up right now. But week 11 in the National Lacrosse League went a little something like this. Halifax held on to beat Las Vegas 12-10. Panther City in overtime survived the Colorado Mammoth 14-13. Georgia takes down Rochester 14-12. Your Calgary Roughnecks have a fourth quarter surge and take down the Toronto Rock 11-10. The hottest team in the NLL, the New York Riptide, sink the San Diego Seals 10-8. And the Derek Keenan-led Saskatchewan Rush do it again. They win 13-9 over Vancouver. Your thoughts and takeaways from the past week in the NLL, Deej?
I once again didn't get a ton of time to sit down and watch a handful of these games. But the ones that I did watch, I got a chance to watch a little bit of the Halifax Las Vegas game. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. I got a chance to watch all of Colorado Panther City, and Colorado really has some problems going on up there, which I'm great to dive into at some point. Shout out to Georgia.
Yeah,
I told you I wasn't going to pick against, my League Pass team of the year too many more times, and I'm glad that I didn't there. I'm going to skip over that game for just a second. San Diego coming out and has me thinking New York. What up, Riptide? Y'all are real
How
this
you
year.
doing?
Y'all are going to the playoffs because it looks like you're not slowing down anytime soon. I mean, to go out and put up the game that they did against San Diego was next level. It's exactly what they needed in order to keep their momentum going. And they're heading toward a great stretch in their season where we could be talking about them continuing to make their way up the standing. So I really like what I'm seeing from the Riptide. And yeah, there wasn't too much to say with the Saskatchewan-Vancouver game. Exactly how I thought it was going to go. The most surprising game of the week, probably game of the week. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. Why do we play like that against Toronto the second time we play them and beat them, but we lose to other teams? Like, why can't we play like that all the time? Why can't the Calgary Roughnecks just win the games they're supposed to win? I do not get it. But here we are, 11-10 victory over Toronto, and giving me this much hope to believe that we're going to turn it around.
I told you.
And don't do that. Don't do that. Don't
Just
do
like
that.
the Packers.
Don't start with me. Okay? Because that was this close to being the way I thought it was going to go. Okay? This close.
And then what happened?
I'm about to put you in time. I'm about to put you in timeout.
Saskatchewan's 6-0 now with Derek Keenan as interim on the bench all time.
So I hope they're looking for a new GM because it's obvious where his spot is.
Doubles up because it's like he knows how to build a roster, and he clearly gets these boys fired up, or they just play harder because they know he's on their ass.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but he's got to find a way to stay on the bench, if you ask me, because they're very good with him on the bench versus him not.
And it's funny because he's not even the head coach. They didn't fire their head coach. They just fired their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, he could take the OC job then if he doesn't have to be head coach and double up. I mean, not as much responsibility.
I just also want to point out that ever since I made the Riptide Atlas LA Angels of Anaheim comparison, the Riptide have gotten hot. So you're welcome, New York.
There you go. Riptide, KB said it's all him. So anybody on the team that want to get at him for saying that, you know where to find him.
My playoff banner will be in the mail. I know.
All right, broski. If anybody's going to get one of them, it's going to be me. I don't know if you know, but anytime I tweet about them, they like my tweet. Me and them. Locked.
They also follow me.
Locked. Me and them are locked.
I also have to give a credit to Tyson Geik and their whole social team because them win graphics are next level demoralizing.
They do a great job with their social stuff this year. I mean, I knew they were going to do something great when I saw their preview video for their schedule. Like it was fantastic. They were one of the best, if not the best, and they've just been continuing to ride that wave that they set at the beginning of the year. And it's going through the entire program. This is one of those things that I talk about where it's like it starts at the top. The GMs, the front office, they're feeling this energy down through the coaches, into the players, the social team. Literally everybody involved with this organization feels that energy and is vibing off of it. That's the reason why they're in this mode that they're in right now.
I see what you did there. Ride the wave, Riptide.
I'm on it this year. I've been dropping puns all year. Don't play with me. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
So your updated standings in the NLL look like this: Albany and Toronto both 6-2. San Diego is at 6-3. Buffalo at 5-3. Halifax at 5-3. Georgia at 6-4. New York at 5-4. Panther City at 4-4. Saskatchewan at 3-4. Vegas, Rochester, Calgary at 3-5. Colorado at 3-6. The Wings are at 2-5 because they had a bye week, so they didn't play. and then Vancouver is at 2-7. Um, Interesting week schedule-wise coming up in the NLL for teams that desperately need wins, for teams that are looking to stay hot. Um, let's move to the Week 12 preview. This is what it looks like, Deej. Coming up this week in the NLL, we kick things off Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A nice classic, great jersey matchup. Pretty much a rivalry at this point, and was a rivalry back in the day because they used to be Rochester. But Halifax hosting Buffalo to kick off Week 12 on Friday at 6:30. Then we have the Montreal unboxed game at 7 p.m. on Friday, Toronto versus New York. I do find it very funny that New York is the home team for a game in Canada against a team that is located in Canada. And then Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the nightcap, the Las Vegas Desert Dogs host the Philadelphia Wings. Then we have two games on Saturday, both at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Albany hosts Colorado, and Calgary hosts Halifax. I don't know if you saw this because all the Montreal press has been going on, and Jeff Teat was at a Canadiens game and everything, and a lot of people putting on their chrome foil hats, if you will, suspecting potentially, instead of expansion, relocation of either Panther City or New York to Montreal if things go well with this game, and it's a potential market that they look into. I know it's been on the expansion list before Commissioner Frood came into the fold, but what do you make of that? This is all rumor and speculation, obviously. This is nothing confirmed for everybody listening, but I've seen a lot of people swirling it around on the interwebs. What do you make of that potentially being a rumor?
I would have to say that I'm more along the lines of it being a rumor, and it being more so an expansion place. But I will say, Panther City is in danger, and that's my personal opinion. And this is no actual information, nothing coming from the inside. No one's told me anything. But when you watch their games on television, because I haven't been to one in person yet, so that also want to throw that out there as a disclaimer. When you watch their games on person, they are empty. From what I can see on TV, they are empty. And it's not just some games. It's like all of them. They had their like home openers. Their first couple last year were packed. And I mean, it helped that they were playing Las Vegas, a team that, people felt like they could beat because it was, a first year team and like those kind of things. But I haven't seen enough people going to their games to say that they're going to be a lock-in spot. So I could see them possibly being, moved, but I'm more so see them continuing to expand because there are so many players who aren't playing already. So why move a team when you have space to expand? That's the way I see it. And Frood said he was in the same mindset of getting to 30 to 32 teams like we see in other leagues. So if he wants to expand, Montreal is a great place to expand.
Yeah, and I think with Panther City, me knowing a bunch of people in that front office, Amber Cox specifically, coming from her background with the New England Black Wolves, the Connecticut Sun, then she was with the National Women's Soccer League for a long time, with the Kansas City franchise when they got started. There's a lot of people in that front office that know what they're doing, and it's very much like how San Diego got lucky with Steve Govett going there from Colorado. You have to build the culture. Panther City's 3 years in to being a team now, and like this is year 3, and year 1 was coming out of an 18-month hiatus for the NLL. Like, not the easiest of circumstances for them to kind of kick things off. And you're in a market that is a non-traditional hotbed. Texas is growing with lacrosse, but it's not your typical place you immediately think of when you're thinking lacrosse. That is a state and an area where football is king, obviously. You're coming off a Texas Rangers team down there winning a World Series, so you have other teams kind of, occupying space in a lot of people's brains before lacrosse comes into the fold. But that front office knows what they're doing. I think they have a plan in place to make that team a lot better. They have talent. It's not like it's a team that doesn't have talent either. It's not a spot where, you're going in and it's just a bunch of no names. Like, they've got Callum Crawford, who's one of the best to ever do it. You've got the Malcolm brothers on that squad. You've got, producer Donnie doing his thing and becoming a face in the NLL as a young player and a face of that team, quite frankly. You have players. You have marketability on that team. It's just going to take a little bit longer because of the market you're in, being non-traditional and trying to find your avenue. And I think that's what we've seen a lot in the NLL with just the quick expansion that happened with New York and with Panther City, with the rebranding and kind of the identity search that Vancouver's been under for a couple of years now. And even now with Vegas, like these non-traditional markets, these markets that you're bringing teams into and the team hasn't been around for a while, like New York, where like the New York Saints were non-existent for 2 decades, and then you bring the Riptide in and it's a brand new look, a brand new feel and everything. It's not like when you brought the Wings back, where you had generations of fandom. You're bringing the same name back, so it's easy to get back into the swing of things, and those fans were just waiting for the Wings to return. It's a much different thing, and especially, Philadelphia is a hotbed for lacrosse. It is tough, and I think it's going to be tough for a little bit longer, but I think, with Panther City and New York, knowing the people running the ship with those two teams specifically, I think if you're a fan of those teams, trust the process. I'm not just saying that as a Sixers fan. Trust the process that those two front offices have in place because they're really smart and they're really good at what they do. And I fully believe that they'll get things going sooner rather than later. So stay the course, trust the process. It's going to be fine. But I do agree with you. I think Montreal would be an expansion team to get to 16, especially if this weekend goes really well, which I think it will.
I think this weekend goes phenomenally well. I know a handful of people from Montreal, and they said they would drive down to like Calgary and stuff and go watch games because of how, fun and stuff they were. So they've been wanting NLL in Montreal for some time now. So I don't really see this going bad. But yeah, I'm excited to see how quickly they move into Montreal at some point for expansion because it's only a matter of time, in my opinion.
With the games upcoming, what are you looking most forward to with these matchups being Buffalo, Halifax, Toronto, New York, Philly, Las Vegas, Colorado, Albany, and Halifax has a double dipper against your Roughnecks?
Obviously, I'm looking forward to that Sunday game time, 7 p.m. Granted, I'll be coaching at the time, but I'll be finding a way to have that on my phone or something so I can be picking in on that because that's going to be a big one, a chance for us to get moving back in the right direction, especially with Halifax playing 2 days before against a very tough Buffalo team, which that one will also be exciting. Granted, it's a 5 or a 6:30 Friday night where I'll be doing basketball. And
not to cut you off, the Halifax Calgary game is on Sunday.
Yep.
Not Saturday. When I was doing the rundown, I was saying it was on Saturday. Both at 7.
Okay.
Sunday, Halifax and Calgary at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so I'll be watching the Buffalo Halifax game also on my phone while announcing basketball on a Friday night. The amount of games I've watched while announcing a basketball game is ludicrous because I'll also be doing the same thing for the Toronto New York game, which I'll be flopping back and forth between those two while announcing. But the rest of this is I don't want to say arbitrary, but I mean, that 10 p.m. Friday night start is going to be a rough one, but I'll be up. I'll be excited to watch it. But I think that's almost a handy to Philly. It's a good chance for them to reset things and get moving in the right direction, which I'm sure you want to say some things about. In Colorado is going to be dog food for Albany, in my opinion.
What an adjective there.
Nah, the
excited
puns
for-
are top tier, bro.
I'm excited for the unboxed game. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Two teams that are extremely hot right now. Obviously, Toronto lost last week, but they're one of the best teams in the league, going up against arguably the hottest team in the league. So I think that matchup is going to be fun. Buffalo Halifax is always a banger, so I'm sure that will continue. Yeah, with the Wings and Vegas, it's two teams that desperately need a win. I hope the Wings can just get back on track and figure some things out. They've been road dogs all year long. They've been able to win on the road. They haven't won at home yet. I did get input from our guy Chris for our concessions analytics to help out the cause. Said at every concession stand at the KeyBank Center, at the games he's been to, have been open. Adds data to the collection. So if you are out there listening, I still need a lot more data to collect, but keep that data flowing.
He's full of it, y'all.
I would be full of it if Shake Shack would be open.
You'll be fine.
I'd be devouring it. But
You know what they're
Chris,
waiting on?
contributing.
They're waiting for me to come, so then Shake Shack can be open and we can devour Shake Shack. That's all.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that Wings game against Vegas. That'll be the nightcap to Champ Series for me. So looking forward to that. Colorado's got to figure something out. Not a great week to get it figured out, but they got to figure something out. And then Halifax-Calgary should be quite the game as well. So looking forward to just the plethora of lacrosse we have. And I think with that brings us to the pick pond. Deej, let's head on over there, feed some ducks, and queue up our beer money picks of the week, powered by Kenwood Beer for Week 12 of the NLL. Kenwood Beer, it's Philadelphia's #1 light lager. That's right, the official beer of Underground Sports Philadelphia as well. It's 4.1% ABV, just 120 calories, only 8 grams of carbs. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Maryland areas. You can also get it at your local liquor store in those markets, and check out the Kenwood Beer shop so you can get your pint glasses, your Kenny merch. It's amazing stuff. kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly. Deej, we kick things off as we traditionally do. Friday night, 6:30 in Halifax. Bandits, Thunderbirds. How we feeling about this matchup?
That is exactly how I feel about this. We're talking 2 5-3 teams, like 2 teams that have both struggled offensively and struggled defensively. Both teams who have lost games that we don't really feel like they should have lost, but have won games that we don't feel like they should have won. At the same time, 104 goals for Buffalo, 105 for Halifax, 99 given up for Buffalo, and only 89 for Halifax. With this being a home game, I gotta trust that the Halifax take care of the nest.
I'm gonna roll with the upset. I'm gonna go with Buffalo on the road to take down Halifax, simply because I've been seeing the boy all over the timeline. He's been getting the brand deal recognition that he deserves. Shout out to Dane Smith getting a sandwich named after him this week. He's been doing the most, and people are recognizing how damn good he is. So I'm going to go with the Bandits, boys, put my backpack on, and ride with the Bandits. We move to the UnBOXed Series, where Toronto and New York play in Montreal, a neutral site. One of the top teams in the league against the hottest team in the league. I don't know where I'm going on this one, Deej.
I think I got this one figured out. I'm going to be loyal here. I'm gonna go with my Riptide and ride the wave, simply off the fact that Toronto's come down. They've lost a couple in a row now, and New York might literally be the hottest team in the NLL. And I got to go with trends, and you got to feed the hot hand. That's what I say as a coach. That's what I used to feel as a player. So I'm going with the hot hand, and I got the Riptide to make a splash out in Montreal.
I thought I was going to sound stupid, but I'm with you. I think New York is going to keep things rolling. They've been all over this press tour in Montreal, and those jerseys look sweet. And you know how we do on this podcast. You look good, you play good, you feel good, and you can mix that in any order, but it's got to start off with looking good, and that's what the Riptide are going to do on Friday night. Give me the Riptide to get the dub in Montreal. Let's move to Friday's nightcap. Philly, Vegas, coming off the Super Bowl, the big game, whatever the hell you want to call it legally, in Vegas. You get the follow-up being a fantastic matchup in the NLL. You guys know where I'm going. I think the Wings get it back on track. This is a great matchup for them. Give me the Wings to get a dub in Vegas.
I like the Wings to win this one as well. I think I kind of said it a little bit earlier, giving that one away. But the Desert Dogs are just in a very tough spot this year where they haven't been able to get a lot of things going. They've won some home games, so I might be going out on a limb here, but Philly really needs a reset, and I feel like this could be it for them.
The next game is Saturday, the lone game at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I think we're both on the same page, Deej, one way or another. Albany will figure it out before Colorado does, and we're both going Firewolves.
Oh, you know I'm going Firewolves. They're going to be dog food. I said that earlier.
You mean wolf food.
Wolves are dogs.
Fair. My brain was a little pretzel right there, but
I'd say I wonder what the long pause is about.
no, because I was doing one of those, like every
every
square's
square.
a rectangle, square thing, whatever.
Well, yeah,
is.
like
And I was
every
like,
wolf's a dog, but not every dog's a wolf.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
I
Last
got
game
you.
in the NLL this weekend, Halifax at Calgary on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's tough to have two games in a week. It's a home and road trip for Halifax. Calgary's at home, coming off a big-time win. How do you see your Roughnecks matching up against Halifax, Deej?
I think let me take a look at this. I do believe. Oh, they're on. Okay. I want to take a look at that. As much as Calgary has not been great at home on the teal turf, I think back-to-back with the travel, it really helps them out. Halifax goes 1-1 on the weekend, and my Calgary are going to be 2-0 in the last couple of weeks on that 2-game win streak and starting to get some good momentum.
I've been going back and forth on this game a little bit, and I think for me it's going to come down to that face-off stripe. And Jake Withers has been unbelievable this year. And in my case of picks, which will probably be wrong because I've been horrendous this year so far, I have Buffalo winning the first one. I'm going to take Halifax to right the ship on the road. So you've got Calgary, I've got Halifax for this one. And those are our NLL Week 12 Beer Money Picks of the Week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer. I've got Buffalo, Deech has Halifax. We both have New York, we both have Philly, and we both have Albany. And then I'm taking Halifax, and Deech has Calgary for Week 12 in the NLL. Let's kick it to Champ Series, Deej. I'm here in Virginia for it. It's brought to you by our pals over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. From sunglasses to blue light glasses to those ski goggles, prescription lenses, Tomahawk Shades has you covered to protect those eyes. I wear the blue light glasses all the time when I'm editing, when I'm watching lacrosse. Deej and I are always rocking the sunglasses. You know how we do. Go to TomahawkShades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app in the App Store or Google Play Store. And when you go to checkout, use code USP for 25% off your order at Tomahawk Shades, tomahawkshades.com. That's code USP for 25% off from our friends at Tomahawk Shades and tomahawkshades.com or in the Tomahawk Shades app. Champ Series is here, Deej. It has been a doozy. Day one was electric. We'll get into our interview with Mike Rabil in just a minute, but let's recap these games a little bit. The vibe here, just being on location, has been unreal. Over 2,000 people in the stands has been awesome. And I got to say, people are showing out for Champ Series, man. The people love sixes.
Oh, I absolutely love sixes, and I know the people would love sixes. And Mike talked about it quite a bit yesterday when we were talking to him. It's about getting the average fan. That's a big part of doing the sixes. A big part of this was last year they didn't know if Olympics were going to have sixes.
Mm-hmm.
This year we do. And then they went, we had the Birmingham games, sixes, us sixes, right into the Olympics in a couple of years. So we're just building that fan base, the awareness, and giving people an exciting product. That's the biggest thing is we all diehard fans love every lacrosse product that comes out. We find a way to attach to it and enjoy it. But the average fan is not going to do that. The average sports fan is not entitled, or I shouldn't say entitled, isn't into the game of lacrosse the way that we are. So we have to make it exciting. We have to find the best parts of the game and give it to them. What do people want to see in sports? They want to see scoring. They want to see fast pace. They want to see big hits. They want to see excitement. All four of those things are jam-packed into sixes, and it's in a short time span. It's an hour long, unlike any other sporting event, which takes, 2, 3, 4 hours, if not longer, over multiple days. Sure, this is multiple days, but it's 2 hours of content, one after another. Boom, boom, get it in, get it out. That's what people like now. And that is why the championship series will do well. And that's why it will help bring success to not only the PLL, but to Olympics, to the Worlds, to the NLL. Because once you get a fan engaged in lacrosse, we all know, because it was us at one point. You get into one part of lacrosse, you eventually just get into the rest of it. So just look at sixes as that tool. It's a tool to get the average everyday fan into lacrosse so that we're not just trying to pick and prod at certain parts. Just give them sixes, and then we can expand on everything else once they're engaged in sixes and like that product.
Also, for the people online, and I know we did this last year, can we cut the bullshit about how to improve sixes and then just give details about box lacrosse? Like, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Like, I love the box lacrosse community. I love the field lacrosse community. It should just be the fucking lacrosse community, for fuck's sake. Like, it's a different style of the game. Like, I don't give a fuck that they're playing inside to do this. It's a different style of the fucking game. Shut the fuck up. I just don't understand why there's always got to be some sort of animosity, some sort of just like nitpicking and prodding and forcing Joe Keegan to tweet the meme that everyone knows, which makes me chuckle very, very hard. Just shut the fuck up. It's truly the Mr. Incredible meme. But yeah, the vibe here has been awesome. It's been loud. It's been electric games. Redwoods win in overtime over the Cannons in just an absolute speed fest. You want to talk about a team that we didn't really predicate the speed factor on? Bro, let me tell you something. In person, I don't know what he's been doing since their season ended, but RP3 got wheels, bro. He got wheels on him. That boy is zooming like a puppy out there. It was insane. He's winning face-offs. Romar jokingly walked into the press conference and said, "Man, forget TD. We got our new face-off guy here." RP3 looks fantastic in this format. Ricky Miezon is as advertised, if not better. He fits the bill, and my goodness, is he fun to watch. Romar took him a little bit to get going, but as the game progressed, he found his groove once again, picked up where he left off in last year's Champ Series. And the overall takeaway, not only in this game alone with the Woods and Cannons, but both games, I don't know what these goalies did, but they watched a lot of film of last year's Champ Series. They were all wearing sweatpants, every last one of them, and the goalie play day one was fantastic. From Jack Kelly to Tim Troutner to Matt DeLuca to Adam Gittleman, Kirsty, Washuta, like, them boys were unreal playing goalie in this format. I was stunned. Like, I'm pretty sure every goalie yesterday finished 40% or better in save percentage, which last year I think was like, you were lucky if you saved like 28%.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's when you get to watch some film and see how guys kind of attacked it the year before. A couple of these guys have, or I think just one, and Washuta played in this last year. Like there's just certain things that you see, and some of these guys were already really good at the close quarter stuff because you saw it during the regular PLL season. So I think it's just a matter of seeing some film and looking at different ways guys attacked it and taking that and then putting your own little spin on it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how that goalie play just continues to progress throughout. But the Redwoods get a big-time win. Marcus Holman was unreal for the Cannons. Drenner was great for them as well. I think the Cannons had 8 guys score in this game, which was awesome. And I think the big takeaway from at least the Redwoods and Cannons and Water Dogs was that they were, especially the Water Dogs, they were passing a ton and getting a lot of assisted goals in this, which is like a rarity, I would say, from what we've gotten from the Champ Series so far. And Chris Bates talked about that too. I think the Water Dogs had like 6 assisted goals early on, and like that was just like they were moving the ball so well. But Redwoods Cannons was instant banger. Romar seals the deal with golden goal in overtime. The over absolutely smashed, and Redwoods 1-0 so far. And then in the nightcap, the Water Dogs handled business, stood on it, and they took down the Archers. And Michael Sowers is just ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous.
We knew that. We knew he was good.
We did.
We already knew that.
He's taking it to an even more ridiculous level of good, that it's just like we're getting to the point of like, what can't he do?
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch that. I was doing basketball, and then my phone died because I was watching the Redwoods game, and my phone died. So I haven't had a chance to see that. I've seen some highlights and stuff, so I don't have too much to say like on that game or even how he looked. But like the Water Dogs won, so I do know that much. And I'm excited to sit down and watch that game today at some point since we have the off day, and then also just Water Dogs Redwoods is going to be electric from what I can tell. And I think the Cannons Water Dogs are going to be a good game as well, based off of what we saw between Cannons and Redwoods yesterday. I mean, it's just so much excitement. That's what I like about Sixes is it's exciting the entire time. People are locked in because you look away for a second, you miss something.
Yeah, it has been unreal vibes. And before the games, we got to sit down in the Premier Zone to kick off a week of OTB radio with the one and only Mike Rabil in person for the very first time. His face on camera for the very first time. He said we finally let him in. Very stoked about having him on to kick things off. We are going to kick it to our sit down with co-founder and CEO of the PLL, Mike Rabil. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy a very fun conversation with the one and only Michael Rabil. What is going on, OTB Nation? We are live from PLL Championship Series here at the St. James. We told you guys when the PLL schedule dropped, if you wanted OTB radio to be a thing, we were up to something, and here we are. We're doing OTB radio live from the St. James for Champ Series every single day this week, and we're kicking it off no better way than with the CEO of the PLL, my man, Mike Rabil, in person for the first time on OTB.
You guys finally let me on.
Finally got you on.
Man. My boys finally let me on. It took me 5 years, but I'm finally on, man.
Finally not just a phone call.
Yeah. Finally not just trying to get on, following you guys, tweeting back at you. You finally had me on a live show, so I'm pumped to be here.
No better way to kick it off. So, first of all, thanks for having us here and allowing us to do this here every single day of Champ Series. What are you most excited about year 2 here for Championship Series? Obviously got kicked off last year, but some new teams in the mix. The defending champs of the regular season made it this year.
Totally.
And they are the only team that has experience for Champ Series. What are you excited about for year 2?
Dude, I'm last year when we did this, we weren't sure if lacrosse was going to get in the Olympics. We were like, if lacrosse gets in the Olympics, it'll be in this format. Now lacrosse is in the Olympics in 2028, and it's this format, 6-on-6. Now it has PLL rules, so shot clocks and two-pointers and a couple different things. But, we're really excited this is the format for both men's and women's in the Olympics. So that's a big piece for us. Like you said, I think these matchups are going to be crazy. The Redwoods, I think, team is stacked. Being able to, be able to have Romar Dennis, who won the Golden Stick last year, come and play for the Woods, and you got guys who are just incredibly athletic. I'm pumped to see what Ricky can do as a rookie. So it's just, for me, I didn't know last year exactly what this was going to look like. There were some of us who had a clue when we watched the Alabama games, World Lacrosse. But, last year it was just such an amazing product that for us to be able to see the best players in the world do it for the second year. And now it matters a lot to these guys, right? You kind of feel bad for the 4 teams that don't make the championship series, right? But I was saying earlier in a press conference today that, we don't have relegation like the Premier League, but that's a huge hack for their audience. This is kind of our version of it. This is a really special week. There's real money to be made by the players. There's real things at stake. And the regular season matters a little bit more. And so I'm just excited to continue to build this property. We're also doing the Unleashed All-Star Game presented by Ticketmaster. This whole event's presented by Ticketmaster, incredible partners for the sport of lacrosse, and just really grateful for them. But for me, being able to see the best women lacrosse players in the world too, play sixes, I'm excited for Saturday afternoon, man. Saturday's going to be crazy. I've already had a bunch of friends ask me if they can get tickets, and I'm like, no, you gotta buy them because we're going to sell out Saturday. Sunday's looking crazy too, but we're just pumped. We love this facility. We've enhanced a lot of the fan experience stuff, not only in person but also digitally. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm excited to get the games going, man.
I'm pumped, and I think from year over year, from last year to this year too, the other big thing, we have home cities now. There's bragging rights for fans in those home markets now that these 4 teams have affiliations to Utah, California, Philadelphia, and Boston. That those cities now get an opportunity to bring a trophy home and brag about it going into this next PLL season.
100%. Yeah, you've seen some local markets starting to cover us, local news. I think the Philadelphia Inquirer
did a piece on sours.
Right? With the Water Dogs being a Philly boy. I think there was a Boston piece. I forget which periodical it was, but that's what you want. You're starting to build those roots, starting to build that legacy in those towns. You're starting to capture the casual fan. That's what we've been trying to do, right? We know that we're building fandom with the hardcores, but you really want to start bringing in the casuals and building the audience. And so, a way to do that is to create sort of home affiliation and home roots. And it's been a really big success for us. I think it was a bigger success than we thought it was going to be, better received. There's definitely markets that we're excited, that are passionate about not having a team, but we're excited they're so passionate about not having a team. So for us, I think this is just sort of the tip of the iceberg here. And we're excited to see these four teams in one of their home markets win the first ever championship series.
We saw last year when Chrome, who are now the Outlaws, won that championship, kind of defied the odds and were the underdogs in last year's champ series.
Yeah.
It kind of showed that this meant a lot to them to go into this, be able to be back together as a team, even though it is a condensed roster, obviously, but it meant a lot to them to bring home that trophy, and I feel like that kind of enhanced what it's going to be like this week for these 4 teams, with 3 new teams in the mix, along with the Archers, who are coming off a regular season championship as well. They have a huge target on their backs to kind of prevent them from winning both in a season.
Totally, man. Those are the right storylines. That's the stuff that we don't make up. People think that we're scripted. We're not. NFL might be though. Nah, but I think that like you're saying is right. Like the Archers, like just by the fact they're regular season champions, huge target on their back. And it's interesting, right? You see, cool thing about Champ Series for me is you get to see guys who maybe didn't make a roster or right on the edge of making a roster or in and out of a lineup be able to have a big opportunity here, really come alive. And it's just a different style. Like athleticism is really important. So you just get like to see really great athletes highlighted. And so, yeah, you'll see. I'm excited, man. I was hoping the Redwoods, the California Redwoods would get a shot at the Champ Series, and they barely squeaked into the regular season just because I wanted to see some guys who I know are animals like Knack and Jules get a chance to play in this format, right? And I'm excited to see, guy like thing is like, oh, how are guys going to play defense? You saw it last year; it was fine. Marcus Holman was a beast, right? He played defense well. All these guys play hoops. These guys are sick athletes. We were at the Super Bowl last week, and we were at the Topgolf event with Cash App. And we brought out Rambo and Sisselberger, something we're doing every year, bringing out a couple guys. And they had the longest drive at the entire Super Bowl. Guess who had the 2 longest drives of the Super Bowl this past year? Rambo and Sisselberger. I'm like, these guys are freaking sick athletes, man. And then they won. We already got the tickets, but then they were able to win some more tickets, and they gave them to some folks on the Cash App side. So anyway, like, I think what you see is you just see like the athleticism, to my point, and how not only skilled these guys are, but Sixes really brings out that. So I'm just pumped to watch these guys play.
Yeah, and I know Deej will touch on this too because we got DJ with us remote, but he and I are both stoked for Ricky, to see his athleticism, going from the football field to the lacrosse field in a speed style of lacrosse with Sixes, and how his just physical frame alone is going to play, and just seeing some of the highlight clips that have been put out on social.
Right.
I can't wait to watch him go toe-to-toe with these guys.
Dude, I mean, I think he was a top recruit in the country. Like, I'm in high school.
Yeah.
He's from Northern Virginia, right? Played football at Stanford. Played next year of eligibility, played at UVA, right? And he's a beast. And so I think Paul said he was even in his Project 9 class. Like, and Paul was like, this kid is an animal. So for me, those are the types of stories that we love. We love watching these guys get out there, get opportunities. I'm really pumped he was able to get a roster spot, and I'm pumped to see him play. And I think it's going to be a great story. Hometown kid, hopefully, doing his best to win a championship, right? So it's just all good stuff.
I'm going to step in real quick. A couple hard-hitting questions before I get out of here. I got basketball play-by-play stuff to do tonight. But, I mean, basically, first off, who's winning? Like, just give me straight answer. Who's winning the Champ Series?
Man, picking, that's hard, right? Because then, I'm going to have I'm a player to meet me in the back and be like, why'd you not pick him? Man, I think it's just going to be it's going to be a good all-around competition. I think about coaches having a lot of impact. Batesy obviously is an amazing coach. I think Coach Holman, I know how much he cares and how much energy he puts into coaching the Cannons, and how much fun he had last year and how close he was to revitalize that organization, that franchise from the year previously. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you really see a lot of deep strategy coming from Coach Holman and the Boston Cannons. He is just like all in, 100% lacrosse. Lacrosse is his life, and he studies meticulously. He's all in with his players. He runs a really great program. And then then bringing on Brody Merrill too. There's elements of box lacrosse that's part of Sixes, right? So in his deep history with box. So, and then obviously playing in the league and for as long as he did with the MLL and the PLL. So I think that you're going to see coaching really be a big part of this. I think last year you saw some coaches kind of roll the ball out there a little bit, not know what to expect, and then they're trying to put their rosters together halfway through Champ Series or readjust, and it's already just too late. So we'll see. We'll see kind of what happens here and who emerges. But I think the coaches. I mean, you got Copeland too, right? I'm excited to see Chris Collins coach up with the Redwoods. So there's just a lot of good strategy here that we're going to see on the strategy side.
Love how you answered that. That's the best CEO answer I've ever been given.
Yeah, filibuster.
But so personally, who are you most excited to see play, and then who do you think takes home the Golden Stick at the end of the week?
Man, I hope. I'm excited to see Sowers play some defense. I think you're going to see like some guys like Ryan Conrad who are kind of built for this. I'm excited to see guys like Jake Carraway again. I'm excited to see, like I said, Knack. I think he's just an insane athlete, right? Played football at Duke and lacrosse. I want to see Jules really pop off. I know how hard Jules works, his commitment to the sport of lacrosse. I would love nothing more for Jules to pop off and win the Golden Stick.
And I mean, this is the question that's been biting at me for months. I finally have a chance to ask you in person. I'm gonna get a real answer here. I don't need a CEO answer here. I need a real Mike to DJ answer. Why are we not in Columbus? Why are we not in the Midwest? What's going on? How long until we get there?
Dude, it's a good question. There's so much that goes into picking facilities, which is like I did like a Twitter thread like 3 years ago, and I was talking a little bit about all the things that have to match up from a facility perspective. One, the facility has to be available. Two, they have to be motivated to work with us. Not all facilities are always motivated for whatever reasons, whether they're a school, it's in the summer, or it's they filled their calendar up, or maybe someone in the front office doesn't like lacrosse. You don't know, right? And so you just have to deal with all these things and availability of venues. So I'm starting to think more about real estate strategy long term and what that means for us. Second thing is it has to work like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, so if one weekend doesn't work, but we need to hit that core market, how does that move then? What else they have, and where do you fit things? We also like to make sure that when we go into local markets, we're having impact in the communities. So last year we did every single site visit. We brought players to all the different children's hospitals. We did Goals for Greatness drops. We partnered with youth organizations to provide really cost-effective ticketing. So if they have tournaments or games, they can come to our events. So having a localized approach to what we're doing as well is really, really important. And then the third piece is it has to match up with your broadcast schedules, right? And whatever sort of linear inventory we've agreed to with ESPN, you have to make sure that sort of like you can match the best markets oftentimes to those weekends, right? So if you have a couple games on ABC, you want stands to be full and sort of look really great for television, and so you have to manage all of that against it. So it's like this massive game of Tetris. And so I think one of the things about Columbus was amazing working with Ohio State. They're easy to work with. They're awesome to work with. I think we want to try to look at how do we bring in more capacity next time, right? We just, a smaller venue and weren't able to sell the amount of tickets we want because we sold out, which is a good place to be. So I think for us in the future, we want to figure out how do we create more capacity with them and do something that works within their schedule, because they have a great lacrosse facility, and we want to be able to use and work with programs and institutions that have lacrosse-specific facilities, but also are going to be, growing the league economically. So that was kind of a CEO answer, but it's not straightforward, man. It's not personal. The Midwest, man, believe me, Chicago to me is like a big opportunity. And for me, the problem with Chicago is there's not great venues. We did it first year. I think it was like Bridgeview, which is like 45 minutes an hour outside the city with considering no traffic. And the venue was a little too big. And so anyway, we're on our database. There's a lot of Chicago fans. There used to be an MLL team in Chicago, so they've kind of warmed that market. There's just not great venue fit. So we try to work with Northwestern on the lacrosse facility they have there. We're trying to push on them, and we're trying to find opportunities to get more in the Midwest. So I hope we come back to Columbus again. and it's a market that does really well, and those fans are great out there in Ohio, man.
I mean, all I hear is that it's still a possibility. We're still on the board. You're still playing Tetris with us.
We haven't announced playoffs yet. Yeah. Who knows?
Also that. So I'm cool with that. That's an answer we can live with, and now we know what we need to do here in the Midwest to make it happen. So I'm happy for it. That's all I got for you for now. I'll keep things drumming away. I'm going to get out of here. Have a great week. Roll Woods as always. Let's get this.
All right, Cali boy.
Appreciate you, bro. The thing I wanted to bring up too is, you bring up the broadcast schedules. How has that relationship progressed since year one of being partnered with ESPN? And it seems like ESPN has really capitalized on the lacrosse market. It's like almost every form, style, and league is on ESPN. What has that relationship growth been like for you guys?
It's been fantastic. I mean, the thing about ESPN is they have this marketing flywheel that if you can get, into that, then it really helps build your sport, your platform, your league, your teams into the more mainstream vocabulary of lacrosse, of sports. And so if you think about, Paul getting a chance to go on to Sports Center and do a live drop of the teams coming home to their home markets, right? That was a huge deal, right? He does that live. It's like a 5-minute monologue. Sports Center. I think they're going to be doing some interviews on Sports Center working on. We're looking to try to hopefully get Ricky on one of the segments to promote, the next Redwoods game. There's a lot of that they can do. Getting PLL stats in the app, in the ESPN app, and getting the scores in the ESPN app is actually a huge lift. It's not as easy as turning on a button.
Right.
And so that happening last year in the second year of relationship, they say on average, if you're not a top, 4 league, it takes like 4 years. So, for us to get it done in second year, you just start getting pulled into that marketing flywheel where, the casual fan starts to see pro lacrosse happening and having more conversations and the talking heads talking about it, the games, the players, the matchups, and that just builds fandom, right? And ultimately, if we don't have a lot of fans caring about what we're doing, we can't build this to where we want to be.
And it feels like, the fandom is just continuing to grow, and the PLL app was evidence of that, I think, when you guys were going through the process of home markets and getting these teams their localized spots. How much has the PLL app for your guys' end of things been just like a game changer across the board?
Totally, man. Our app is, and I take no credit for it other than just helping. I think you're going to have Brendan Coleman, our VP of Product and Technology, on at some point when you're here this week. We wanted to get on with you to talk about all the stuff they're cooking up on PLL Nation. I mean, look, one of the things that when we were first addressing and building, because this is a big resource, a big investment to put into our own technology, was people have app fatigue, right? Like, how many apps have I bundling them together and making sure they're all of use? It was like, we have to provide more than just a standard app, content app for a sports league, right? We have to provide value to our fans if we want them to be in this app and really make it experiential, right? And so, we brought fantasy for the first time ever to the Champ Series, which was, a big process. It took a lot of critical thinking from the product tech team, marketing team, so we have that drummed up, which we're pumped about. Our fantasy during the season was really, really successful. Our app downloads in general up 174% last year. PLL Nation, right? I don't want to take all of BC's thunder, so he's going to talk about all the different features we're dropping for PLL Nation. But PLL Nation was a big opportunity for us to reward our fans for their engagement with the league and with their teams, right? So buying tickets, watching games, earning XP through those. We were the first sports league ever to put XP in a broadcast in digital signage.
I thought that was so
No one's doing
genius.
that. I can't believe people don't talk about that. I'm like, dude, you people. Yes. Anyway, but it's like almost too complex.
We were in the press box pulling the stream up.
Our
so
fans
we could
are just like on another level, man. And so we want to reward them. We want to make sure they're being rewarded for their fandom. And I think that's table stakes these days, man. You have to be thinking about them, whether they're on site, whether they're watching it from their couch with their friends at a bar, following it from their phone. You have to really think about that. And so, just having exclusive content and stats is sort of like the bar. You have to have that if you have an app. And then what else are you providing, right? And so for us, that's a big piece of this. And then we have college fantasy right now going on, right? College pick'em. in our app, so you can follow through. You can follow and create fantasy lineups and pick them with inside of our app through the college season. So we just want to continue to provide more value to the fans.
And you guys were gracious enough that during this week we have app integration here with OTB.
Yep.
So download the app. You're going to see an ad banner pop up right now. Download the app and use code OTBPOD in the app. You're going to get 500 XP.
Hell yeah.
Just for using our code. Use that bad boy. Support the PLL app. Support us because they're going to be able to see how many people are using it. And that's a fat stack of XP if I do say so myself.
I'm gonna go put it in my phone right now, man.
So you get 500 XP using code OTBPOD in the PLL app. Go use that. Tell your friends. Tell your family. And if Mike Rabil's using it, you know it's a damn good code.
I can't get out of level 12. Maybe this will help me get out of level 12, bro. People keep making fun of me.
You guys dropped the jerseys this morning. They look clean.
Yeah, they're clean.
What goes into kind of that process for you guys to differentiate the look of these teams for an event like this?
I mean, it's I'd say three things. One, you want to get the feedback of the players, what they like, what they feel comfortable in. That's most important, right? Second thing is feedback from our partners at Champion, right? They have in-house designers. You're constantly thinking about not only the product itself, but the new patterns, new color waves, newest technology and fabric, and then our own in-house team, right? And so it's this really cool collaboration of three groups trying to put together something new, something fresh. The players are going to look sharp in, fans are going to enjoy. That highlights not only their athleticism, but how these guys are in shape, man. And so is flattering to professional lacrosse players, but also shows off those nice threads that everyone knows the Champion's capable of putting out there.
And I know RJ listens and watches, so I got to put this out there too. Back in 2019 when you guys did the Fast Break studio show,
yeah,
we had Hawkeyes dialing in on that studio. It's fun that you guys have the yellow Redwoods helmet rolling out.
Oh, yeah.
Because in one episode on a little side table, RJ may have accidentally left a yellow Redwoods helmet with the original Redwoods logo out there.
That's awesome.
And now it's back full circle. So 5 years later, it's ready to go.
That's incredible. I got to commend you guys, man. Like, one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on here is I just, respect your guys' commitment to the game, to the sport. How much you guys travel, how much you guys care about, the sport of lacrosse holistically. How deep-rooted you guys are in it. The fact that you can even pull that stat, right? It's just really it matters, right? It's tough. It's tough being on the road. It's tough producing content week over week. I know, and the fact that you guys are doing it is really means a lot. So just want to give you guys your flowers, you and DJ, and behind camera crew as well.
CFO Margie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In
CFO
the building.
Margie in the building. It means a lot to us, so I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate that, and like your guys' support from year one. It was one of those things where we were doing some things, and Atlanta weekend popped up, and we were like, this is year one. Like, these guys are going to remember the people who were there year one more than anything. So we took a 16-hour drive down to Atlanta and made it happen. And those are the types of things that it's like, when we look back on it, it's like, that's what got all this kind of started. And to be here this week is going to be an absolute blast, and we appreciate you guys for having us out.
Man. Appreciate you guys coming out, man. Let's get more of these on the books for you guys.
Absolutely.
Who else we got? We got BC coming.
We got BC, and I think fully
get some players out here.
We got Brody Merrill coming on.
Brody Merrill coming on?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So we should get our head of ticketing on here. I've been pressuring him to do some more speaking. Just get the whole crew. Let's get a car wash with these guys. What do you say, Grace?
Just let them go through the spin cycle.
There you go. Awesome.
But yeah, stoked to be here. We're going to be pumping out content every single day. So
great.
Make sure you're following us at OTB LaxPod, all socials. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And use that code OTBPod in the PLL app for 500 XP. Mike Rabil, ladies and gents.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, brother.
Good to see you.
Shout out to the big dog himself, Mike Rabil, for hopping on the show. And if you somehow missed it in the interview there, guys, we got to do this because you guys listen and you watch and you support us, and the PLL recognizes that. So they gave us the opportunity to include an XP code in the PLL app. this week for Champ Series. So, if you haven't already, please, 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 please use the code. Use the code. Download the PLL app. Go to the decode section and type in OTB Pod, and you get 500 XP in the app. That is a fat stack of XP. Insane gratitude to the PLL and their team that works on the app for getting us integration into the app this week. And they're going to be able to see how many of you use that code. I am going to be walking up to every 12-year-old, every 52-year-old, and everyone in between and beyond at Champ Series this week, telling them to use our code. Because the PLL is going to be able to see it, and the more the code gets used, it's a one-time use code, but the more that code gets used, it's going to help us potentially do some more with the PLL and the PLL app. So download the PLL app, redeem code OTBPOD in the app, and you get 500 XP to your account. And Deej, what a world we're living in. We have our own XP code.
I already used it, so I got my
Same.
500 XP. OTB Pod. Get on it.
Cashed in.
OTB Pod. That's OTB POD. OTB POD. Punch it in now. Get that 500 XP because this is not anything that I like truly know or anything, but in my good spirits and what I feel is if we do well on this, we'll get more of these codes that we'll be able to give out to you throughout the year in the season, which will help you gain more XP, which gets you higher on in the rankings and more things coming from the PLL. So help us help you and use that code OTBPOD, OTB Pod.
Use that thing, man. I'm stoked. I know I had a bunch of people DM that are longtime listeners of the show say they used it already, so shout out to them. And everybody that tuned into the interview last night when it premiered. And let's keep this thing rolling, man. Champ Series is going to be awesome. From what you've taken away, Deej, has your mindset shifted on who could potentially win Champ Series from day one?
I mean, you know who I was going with to win that thing from day one. It's my Woods. My Woods. That's what I wanted. But I also had a strong feeling the Cannons would be good, which we saw not too long ago, last night against the Woods when we watched that. And then the Water Dogs, who also looked impressive. I think the Archers are kind of just on an outside in position this year with like who they have on the roster, you know, just because of so many of their key players are playing in the NLL. So I had the Woods up top, but a close second and third, no real ranking between the two, Cannons and Water Dogs.
And the Archers, like Chris Bates even said it. He said for the first time ever, he logged on to FanDuel and DraftKings just to see what the odds were, and they had the longest odds to win. And you know, I think they're a young team in this. You know, it's not the same squad that they rolled out last year, obviously, because they had the Marcus Holmans and the Will Mannies on that team, and they had Grant, and he's out with injury, and I think that changed a bit of the complexion of the offense and the approach that they had to Champ Series going in. But it's a bunch of the young guys. You know, you got the two pups that traditionally play short stick D midi playing for them. Ronan Jacoby looked fantastic, though. I was very impressed by him. And that's been the fun part, is seeing the guys who are like in this trying to make a roster, and they're all performing well, from Ronan Jacoby to Ricky Miezon. Kyle Borda was fantastic for the Water Dogs. So a lot of guys showing out that are, you know, trying to fight their way onto rosters when the regular season rolls around and when free agency is open. So looking forward to them continuing to progress and make waves to earn their way onto a roster, which we saw a bunch in last year's Champ Series.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be just a little more exciting, and it's going to be close. We're going to see some really good games, some really tight games, and I love the energy and the skill that we're seeing, the speed, everything going back and forth. It pulls me in every single time, and I'm just hoping the Woods come out on top. Those yellow jerseys are fucking phenomenal, and so are the helmets.
Facts.
And I just would love to see Romar repeat as Golden Stick as well, or someone else from the Woods can grab it. I just want to see really good lacrosse for the remainder of this weekend and into Monday for that championship game.
And I have to say, all the jerseys look fantastic in person, and when you get a closer look at them, they're that much better. But the Redwoods yellow jerseys are gorgeous, and I brought up to Mike in that interview too. It's very funny how the Redwoods finally have a yellow helmet.
I know, like it literally just now, and I don't know. I like it a lot. I think they went with a very good color, and I might have to try and see if I can win one of these auctions for one. Although I'm never gonna beat Timmy's dad, who has tons of money to pay for these things.
Is he winning the auction right now?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't saying literally like Timmy Troutner's dad. I was just saying like little Timmy, just like little Timmy down the road.
The most like name.
I know. I said right after I said it, I went, oh, I could have picked Johnny, Sam. I gotta pick any other name, and I said little Timmy.
Damn, Tim Troutner's dad got it like that. Okay, that's big fish right there.
Big fish.
I know Romar had a fantastic day, but right now leading the way for the Golden Stick is our guy, Kieran McCardle, who set 3 records last night in his first Championship Series game. 12 total points, which is a single game Champ Series record. 7 goals, which is a single game Champ Series record. And 9 scoring points, which is a single game Champ Series record. Not a bad day at the office for the big dog, number 6, Kieran McCardle.
Crazy setting records like that first time in. He's
Doing
different.
The damn thing.
He's different.
He also got me good because I asked in the press conference because I said, let me save this for the dogs. Multi-purpose for us to post everywhere too. Obviously being Philadelphia's squad. So I asked Cope and I asked Kieran, what's it like finally being able to represent a home market, repping Philly in this and getting that first dub. And Kieran goes, at the end, he said, there's no better place to do it other than New York because he's a New York guy. And I said, this fucking guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to get me riled up.
I mean, it was on purpose. So.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You threw it at him and he threw it back. So
100%.
I don't know what you were expecting.
But it is cool watching them and hearing like the in-house arena announce like the home cities and referring to them as California, as Utah, Philly, and Boston. It takes some getting used to for your OG PLL fans, but it is cool hearing them get introduced by their home cities.
They were doing the same on the game as well, if you were watching on television or streaming or whatever. So I think the first time I heard it, it was like, oh yeah, that goes out on California, and I was like, Redwoods?
I got the right angle on
California. Man, I'm like, hold on. And then I was like, oh yeah, they are California, and it is going to be Boston ball. I was like, oh man, this is going to take a little bit to get used to, but it is weird. but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Also, the Philly-Boston rivalry seems to be alive. That practice scrimmage brawl was
real.
Amazing. That
was real. They were fighting for real. That wasn't for play. That wasn't practice. Did you
see the quote from Marcus Holman in the press conference yesterday when he got asked about it?
No.
They asked if it stemmed from anything from last year. Obviously, the Water Dogs demolished the Cannons in the semis. And he said, maybe, in hindsight, potentially. I was like, okay, Marcus, that's a yes.
Right. That's exactly what that means. But I do remember that because we were there, and it was not even close. Not even close.
But yeah, I think that rivalry is there. I do think that the just two heavyweight type teams in the Redwoods and the Cannons rivalry that's been brewing over the past couple of years is going to stay, just in terms of like coast to coast rivalry. It seems a lot of fun, and those two teams battled yesterday. And I think it's only going to get better. I can't wait for the Water Dogs and Cannons to play in an actual game that means something. And it's going to be interesting to kind of watch the Archers and Redwoods really develop into an actual rivalry now that it's kind of coastal out there. But this is like the first shot, too. And we didn't really get to talk about this with Mike too much, but this is the first shot that these four teams in particular are going to fuel potential rivalries.
I mean, I think some of the ones are still set. You know,
for sure, some of the traditional ones are set, but like with these four teams in particular, mostly Philly, Boston, Utah, Cali, and kind of adding new fuel to it with the regional location on everything. I think it's going to just carry over into the regular season, just add to what has already been built upon.
Maybe. There's definitely some potential. I don't know how much beef there really is between like California and Utah, just like on a general between sports. That's something I don't know.
Lakers, Jazz.
But Boston, Philly is. When has that ever really been a rivalry?
I mean, back in the day, but
nah, because the Lakers were cold and then they got sorry, and that's when the Jazz were good, and the Jazz started being sorry, and that's when the Lakers were good. It just always goes. I don't know. Either way, that Boston, Philly is going to be automatic. Boston, Philly is going to be automatic, and that will always stay the way it is. And
is it going
think
to be
that
hypnotic, supersonic, funky fresh? He got that music reference, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. We're making progress.
Don't be doing that. All right. I'm not that young. I definitely did get that one though. And but yeah, I'm really excited for some of the things that are not only going to come out of this, but just out of the teams being in geographical locations in general.
There was one other thing I was going to mention from this. Oh, shout out to Chris Collins, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, OG friend of the pod, OG supporter of the pod, gets a big time dub as acting head coach for the Redwoods, and so well deserved. Couldn't be happier for him, and just looking forward to more electric games this week here at Champ Series.
The electricity, because the Woods are going to win it. You see what I'm repping.
Standing on business.
On the business. That West Coast slang. Nah.
Let's get to college recap and our college pick'em in that PLL app, and just take a look at the games we have upcoming. The pick'em, I'm pulling it up in my app right now. The games we have upcoming this week in the app, Deej, we have St. Joe's and Duke. We have Army and Rutgers, both ranked, number 15 and number 11. Duke ranked number 2. We have Penn and Georgetown, Penn's first game of the year. We have Utah and number 6 Denver. And then we have number 4 Maryland, number 5 Syracuse, and those are the TLN games of the week. What are some highlights from the week that was that everybody should recall from the college game with the one and only Portal Jones?
Well, we'll start D3 Salisbury. They're doing the thing over and over. They win 17-11 against Grove City, so we'll keep an eye on them. Christopher Newport gets their season going. They win 15-9. Elmhurst drops one to Center 11-10, but like that's kind of really all we got. York drops to Rensselaer 8-7. RPI really coming out with a huge victory there. Didn't see that one coming. And then UMich Dearborn tops Alma 18-8. So Alma's really got some work. That makes me happy as a MIAA guy. They play my Adrian Bulldogs, and I think Adrian will do plenty of damage against Alma. But looking at what's coming up this upcoming week for the D3, arch nemesis Albion Britain's going to get going against Otterbein this weekend. RIT and Denison going to battle. That's going to be 1 to 1,000% keep an eye on. I'm looking for some of the other big games that may be going on this weekend. St. John Fisher is going to take on SUNY Brockport. That's going to be a big one. I'm looking for our defending champs. Barry and Christopher Newport will battle it out on the field. Washington and Lee will head down to take on York and Pennsylvania. Hope, another MIAA rival, will get things up and running against Illinois Wesleyan for their first game of the year. I'm not seeing anything for our defending champs this upcoming week. What I do know is my Adrian Bulldogs get things going on the 20th against none other than Coach Nat's Ohio Northern Polar Bear. So I will be attempting to get down there and watch that game in Adrian this year, as that'll be going on 4 o'clock. But that's going to wrap up D3 because I'm not seeing anything for our defending champs. Looks like they get a week off now after playing in week 0 and 1. Going back D2, I don't think there's too much to talk about other than our defending champs, Lenore Ryan, doubling up UND 14-7 coming into this weekend. We're going to look for them again, see what they got going on. Florida Tech takes on Flagler. That one should be decent. Mercyhurst and UND should be a good one as well. Tampa, champions from a couple years ago, will take on defending champs Lenore Ryan. Florida Southern and Limestone going to go at it as well. And then Lincoln Memorial will take on Emmanuel down in Georgia. So that's kind of the D2 rundown. What we're all really here for is D1. What do we see last weekend? Army comes out with a huge win over UMass 13-12. Hopkins comes out winners 11-9 over Georgetown. Duke large over High Point 21-9. Maryland actually looked extremely impressive against Loyola and made a lot of us look stupid choosing against them as they win 11-4. Ohio State keeps it cruising 13-6 over Cleveland State. Penn State over Nova 18-10. I kind of saw that one coming. St. John's is in trouble this year as Quinnipiac takes them down 17-11. Rutgers stays undefeated 16-12. Obviously, my boys in blue, courtesy of Coach, got beat by the Pretty Boys, and they really brought it to them. So Virginia winning 19-11 in that one. But Michigan did have points where they looked very good in that game. NJIT, stand up, New Jersey Institute of Technology. You're 2-0, and you are doing great so far, coming out 15-16 OT winners over Siena. Denver over Air Force 11-9 to close out Saturday action. Nothing huge really going on Sunday. Of course, Tuesday, Michigan bounces back and absolutely slacks Canisius around 21-5. Makes me happy. Detroit Mercy joining their basketball team and taking a loss. Marquette dubs them up 22-8.
Chill on them.
And Ohio State takes care of Bellarmine 10-6. I think that's a little bit closer of a score than you would like to see, but Ohio State's undefeated, so nothing for them really to worry about. And, of course, our defending champs got everything going 25-3 over Cleveland State. Nothing big for us Friday night. Saturday for the upcoming week, Virginia Richmond obviously going to be one to watch after Richmond took Maryland to the final seconds. Denver Utah out west, always a big one. St. Joe's taking a trip down to play Duke. Navy Townsend over on that East Coast, another big one to keep an eye on.
Those Navy helmets are fuego.
They are. They're very good. I like those a lot. Here we go. Our homies from the Ivy League are finally popping in. Georgetown's going to play Penn this weekend. Princeton, Monmouth. Villanova is going to take on Yale. We get Loyola and Johns Hopkins this weekend as well. Michigan and Hobart. Rutgers and Army, West Point. Maryland, Syracuse. Load it up. We all know that's the game of the week. If you're not watching Maryland and Syracuse at 6 p.m. Saturday night, you are doing it wrong. Ohio State and Air Force will be a good game as well. Notre Dame and Marquette should be much like what we saw between Notre Dame and Cleveland State. So not too much there on Sunday. Middle of the week, we got Albany going down to play Penn. It gets pretty boring in the middle of the week. Manhattan, which does have Mariano Rivera's son, will be taking on Princeton on Tuesday as well. Utah and Syracuse as Utah comes into the JMA Dome. NJIT back in action against Monmouth on Wednesday. So plenty to see in the college world this week. What do we got going for these picks, though? Same picks again, you think?
I don't know. We'll have to pull them up, but shout out to our boy Dan, Newbie Talks. The legend of NJIT continues. The picks, though, first game on the TLN College Pick'em in the PLL app is St. Joe's and number 2 Duke. 1% of PLL app users are choosing St. Joe's because they know the Hawk will never die. But I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that unless some crazy shenanigans happen, the Blue Devils are coming away with a win there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Duke as well. That one was almost second nature for me to pick.
Now we got number 11 Rutgers, number 15 Army. Both teams undefeated. Army 1-0, Rutgers 2-0. I got Rutgers.
I do as well. I really like Rutgers, and what the state of New Jersey as a whole is doing on the D1 level is they're one of the only states that's completely undefeated in D1 men's lacrosse right now.
Then we have Penn and Georgetown. Penn's first game of the year. Georgetown 0-2. I'm taking Penn to get an opening win for them for their season.
I went Georgetown. I don't know what it is, but like the Ivy League always has these really big expectations, and a lot of times they come out flopping. So I'm banking on them doing that again.
Then we have number 6 Denver against Utah. I'm taking Denver to get the dub.
I also chose Denver. I think they've been cruising this year at a nice pace and have won a couple tough games already. So I don't think Utah has what it takes to stand with them.
And then, like you mentioned, arguably and easily the game of the week in the college world. Number 4 Maryland, number 5 Syracuse. I'm rolling with the orange and my boy Joey Splashlina to come away with the dub and improve to 4-0 on the year.
That's not your boy. I came up with Splashlina, so don't be doing that.
That's my dog.
But Splashlina and my boy Brian Nozlax would be extremely happy to hear me say I think the Orange are taking down Maryland, and I don't know if it's going to be close, to be honest. The Orange look great on defense, and no one has come close to stopping their offense, and it's electric on that side of the ball. So I really like Syracuse to take care of business, and I'm not sure if it's a close one.
Yeah. What's your record in the app this year?
I am 7-10. Same. I think we should be exactly the same because we've had the same picks.
That's right.
And we did it again this week.
No, I took Penn.
Oh yeah, you're right. You took Penn instead of Georgetown.
So yeah, should be a fun week in college. Stay tuned to OTB Radio all week long. Use code OTBPOD, OTBPOD in the PLL app. Get that 500 XP. It's a one-time use, so get it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell them to tell their friends and family to use it, and use that code. Follow us on the socials at OTB Laxpod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Facebook.com/UndergroundSportsPHI. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You're going to get these interviews from OTB Radio in audio form over the next couple of weeks. Faux show. And if they're big ones, they might get released as their own little mini episode. But that's why you got to subscribe. If you subscribe, it'll be right in your podcast app of choice. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Keep on subscribing. Let's get those numbies up on audio. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. It's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week. It's where you get all of our OTB radio interviews that will be coming from Champ Series, and you get full video episodes of every show on our network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on our YouTube channel. Let's try to get to 800 subscribers before the end of Champ Series. I know it's a tall task. We're at 742 right now, but I think the people can do it. Subscribe. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on everything we talked about on the episode. And get your merch, phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your orders. Enjoy this unreal weekend of lacrosse we have coming up from the NLL, PLL Champ Series, college. We've got the Unleashed Women's Lacrosse All-Star Game down here at Champ Series as well this weekend. So we got all facets of lacrosse going on. Enjoy it. And this has been episode number 310 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, viewable on YouTube, and use code OTBPOD in the PLL app. Outside the Box Podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. We'll catch you guys on OTB Radio. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here, and we are signing off. Peace.
Peace.